10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
You're listening to the House of Cards on Facebook, YouTube, and BigPatriotRadio.com. All licenses for music and content have been purchased by and are for the express use of the Big Patriot Radio networks. All information, opinions, and topics are for entertainment purposes and do not expressly represent the opinion of the show's host and or producer. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Locked and loaded.
Let's go.
Big Patriot Radio. Blues, news, country pop, and classic rock.
And good evening, everybody. Hey, how's it going? Mike Covert here with you. It is September 11th. Glad to have everybody here. I am, once again, Mike Covert, your host, and we are coming to you live from the Big Patriot Radio studios right here in wonderful, great state of South Carolina. Glad to have you with us. Welcome to everyone watching on Facebook, YouTube, and those around the country and around the world listening in on BigPatriotRadio.com. You know, folks, today we remember 24 years ago this morning, this nation was shaken to the core as we saw two planes fly into the World Trade Center. There are days where I can't remember what I had for breakfast or lunch, but I remember those two planes flying into the World Trade Center North and South Tower. We saw one plane fly into the Pentagon and one plane that we believe was destined to go fly into the U.S. Capitol or the White House that was flown into the ground in Somerset County, Pennsylvania. This all happened in the name of radical Islamic terrorism. The nation was shaken, no doubt about it. This nation was shaken to the core. But in true American form, on September 12th, we got up. We pulled up our bootstraps and we went back to work. We went back to work as a nation determined to defeat this terror ideology. Terror struck again in the United States 23 years and 364 days later as a true man of God, a patriot, a beloved father, husband, son, Charlie Kirk of Turning Point USA and Turning Point Faith was killed mercilessly yesterday by a single gunshot wound to the neck in Orem, Utah. This was at one of his Turning Point USA events. I don't know the number of thousands and thousands and thousands of youth and young adults over the years, but listen to went to his events, listened to his testimony, took part in his work. He gave his testimony to, and to be sure, converted them to conservative lifestyles, but more importantly, converted them to live their life for Jesus. The murderer, as far as I know, as of watching on one of our mini screens, has still not been caught. We don't know his or her ideology. We believe we have a picture of the subject, male subject, be it radical Islamic terrorism like 9/11 or radical Democrat, socialist, communist, trans, whatever ideology that has infected this country to its core and to that person's core, to that group, whatever that group is. I say this, and I hope some are either listening or will see this show later on Facebook or YouTube. To those ideologies that think what happened to Charlie Kirk is okay, or even that the 9/11 ideology was okay. To you, I say, quote, mark my word, you have awoken a giant. Just as America was awoken after 9/11 some 24 years ago. Now, America is awake in the wake of the senseless murder of Charlie Kirk. If you can run and you can hide, that might be a damn good idea. Yes, we forgive. It's in the mental makeup, generally of conservatives, from what I have studied, that is generally part of the makeup to forgive, to wrap you in the cloak of Jesus, but I will guarantee you, we will not forget. We will not forget. Tonight, we remember the 3,000 plus people that died on 9/11 and continue to die from cancer and other ailments from the dust, the jet fuel, I don't even know what all's causing it. As well, we're going to remember 31-year-old Charlie Kirk. Let's honor them all with a moment of silence.
Introducing to you.
You're on House of Cards, live on Facebook and YouTube.
It's going down.
Locked and loaded with the truth.
All right. Once again, welcome in. Thank you for sharing that time with me that we can all come together. So we have a hell of a show for you tonight. One hell of a show. You're going to want, as I said earlier, you're going to want to call your friends. You're going to want to have an adult beverage, maybe a cigar, a couple of snacks, because this one is going to shock you a little bit. I want to thank you to those that have been with us since day one, and then those that are coming for the first time. Welcome. We're glad to have you here. You can help support the show if you want to. We greatly appreciate that. That's what helps keep things going here. But we're glad to have you with us. Last week, the number one song on BigPatriotRadio.com, The Boys Are Back in Town by Alex Melton, the number one listening cities, a three-way tie, Bluffton, Beaufort, and Easley, South Carolina. We had David Cox and his son on, no from Easley. They're all tied for number one. Somerville, Hilton Head Island. You folks were rounding out the top five.
Your rock authority. Big Patriot Radio.
I wouldn't tell anybody about this.
Hey, once again, I want to let you know we have a new advertiser with us. Have you heard their ads? skipsstefuskytees.us. They're all over BigPatriotRadio.com. I want to welcome skipsstefuskytees.us. That's .us. Go check them out today. skipsstefuskytees.us. They have an incredible selection of t-shirts with themes of Americana, U.S. military, Trump 45-47, the GOP taking a few shots at Iran, no pun intended. I wouldn't be surprised if they're already working on shirts with Charlie Kirk. These shirts, many of the cabinet members like Hegseth, Kristi Noem, Tulsi Gabbard, there's B-2 Stealth, bomber shirts, American patriotism, and much more. All American made, all made right here on Defusky Island. You want to go check them out at skipsstefuskytees.us. And, one of the best things is skipsstefuskytees.us is pledging to send 80% of the profits of these T-shirts directly to solid GOP re-election campaigns, such as Win Red and possibly even some down ballot candidates. Check them out today. That is skipsstefuskytees.us. Tell them that you heard about them here on Big Patriot Radio. Go check them out because American made shirt, they're $25, I think is what I saw, from small or even smaller, maybe extra small, to 5XL. Check him out today, skipstofuskytees.us.
Let's go!
The station that keeps it rocking 24/7.
Ladies and gentlemen,
BigPatriotRadio.com.
All right, we do have a super show for you tonight. We're going to get right to it. We have a story to go into about a Bluffton councilwoman who has said through public documents. Let's get that straight right up here up front. These aren't secret documents. This isn't hearsay. This is actual public documents. Some shocking things. I want to give the public some of the things you haven't been given in total truth and totality from some of that, but we're going to get to that here in a second. That's going to be story number 2. First story, again, public's not been given the full truth and full totality by our local newspaper and regional newspapers. Namely, here locally in Beaufort County, regarding Beaufort County Councilman Tom Reitz. Now, this, folks, this has the ingredients. This is no joke, and I had it on the headline. This is no kidding. This has the ingredients of being something even possibly, it's even bigger, possibly, than the Murdaugh scandal, the Murdaugh saga, minus the murders. This could be even bigger. All stories have a beginning. This story has the beginning that needs to be heard. It begins many, many months ago. And don't forget, we want to hear from you, chat. Just go into your chat room, type away if you want to mention anything, say anything, ask anything. Whatever, we don't care. Just holler at us. Anyway, it begins many, many months ago. It begins when the back room door, boys and girls, realize that, hey, Tom Reitz is not someone who is going to be bought and paid for. It begins when political operatives realize Tom Reitz is there on county council not because he needed to do something, not because it's a stepping stone to somewhere. He did it because he saw a need. He saw that his county council representative had been marred in controversy and claims of misfeasance, allegedly, obviously, and wanted to do something about it. This story begins when those people I just mentioned realize that Tom Reitz is not going anywhere, and he's not going to succumb to their crooked, cruel, conniving ways. This story begins when political wannabes and operatives here locally begin to enlist powerful political figures, powerful at least in their own narcissistic minds, and in the elected jobs that they may or may not do, to do the heavy lifting, if you know what I mean, do the heavy lifting to ward off people like Tom Reitz. It's those same people who tried and tried again and have failed to run another person off that was working for the people and solely for the people. Someone lost connection. Let me know if you are hearing me. Just give me a hey. Anyway, it's those same people that tried to run someone else off that was there for the people. That someone was me. Tom Reitz was asked by, well, let's go to the rest of the story. Tom Reitz was asked by an inmate's wife. This inmate, yes, it's Skip Hoagland. This story isn't about Skip Hoagland. It's about Tom Reitz. Anyway, Tom Reitz was asked to check on Hoagland. Thank you all. As he had been sentenced to 15 days in jail, and there was some sort of communication that hadn't been happening between his family and him about medicine. Remember, the gentleman is 78 years old, apparently in far worse health than I really even knew. But anyway, that's not the point. Tom Reitz obliged. I will absolutely, and I wouldn't expect anything else from Tom. This is so in his character. He agreed, absolutely. I have to be at the county building, if you will, at a certain time. I'll go early and stop by and see him, so to speak. He would do that for Skip. He would do that for me. He would do that for you. He would just do that. That's who Tom Reitz is. Tom was in Beaufort, went over to the detention center, which is on the same plot of land as the courthouse, the Holbert building, or whatever it's called, the Arthur Horn building. That's it. The county administration. It's all on the same plat of land. And asked to speak to the head of the jail, the detention center, Colonel Grant, who we now know was busy in a meeting. Now, before we go any deeper, and this goes very, very deep, folks, let me tell you, this goes very deep. There are forces out there who are going to try and run Tom Reitz's name and likeness into the ground and say that he used influence to gain entry. If you haven't already seen it, if you haven't already heard it, be ready, because it's going to happen. That's how the cabal, that's how these operatives, that's how they work. That's the influence that they have. Tom Reitz went in the front door. He walked up to the guard, and this is all on video and hopefully audio. And by the way, I hope they haven't done anything to that video and audio. I don't think they would. He walked up to them. Now, here are the questions. I do want to interject this. Here are the questions that need to be asked. Some of these I know the answers to, some I don't. But we all, every single one of us, need to be asking these questions. One, did the detention center guard walk him through a metal detector? Did he or she, the guard, did you do that? Did you walk him through a metal detector? Next question, did the guards, the correctional officer guards, did you wand him like, you do at the airport gate, concert, race, anywhere else? I mean, did you do that at the jail? Did the guards, the correctional officers, ask him to please empty your pockets? They do that at the Grand Ole Opry. I had a knife taken away. Forgot I had it in there. I didn't get arrested for it. And they didn't take my phones. Did they ask him to empty his pockets? Now, Tom had a backpack with him. Always carries a backpack. Did they take the backpack, but not his phones? If the answer to that is yes, why? If the answer to that is no, please explain. Did the guard take the backpack and put it in a private area, not in a locker, but not ask if you had phones, stones, rocks, locks, keys, a knife, an M4? Did they ask about any of that? Did the guard give Tom the keys to the inside of the jail? Did Tom walk right into the jail where the pods are by himself as directed by the correctional officers? Did he do that, detention center folks? Did he walk right through the door after stopping, coming in the front door? Did he do that? Did he walk right in? Did Tom Reitz sit down and talk with an inmate all alone in a room inside the jail? Did that happen? Tell me, did that happen? We want to know. Did Tom Reitz and the inmate go to the inmate's cell alone? Guards walking by? Not a big deal. Did that happen or did that not happen? And please, Provide video proof of that, because certainly that didn't happen. Did anyone ever tell Tom Reitz, hey, buddy, you can't be in here? Did anyone ever say that? Did Tom Reitz exit the visit and see Colonel Grant and the assistant county administrator, John Robinson? Did he see them and it had the appearance? I mean, were they waiting for him? Did they see him and were they waiting for him? How ironic is that? If that is true, please tell me, is that true? Did the ACA, John Robinson, take this report directly to the chairwoman of county council, Alice Howard, and advise her to call the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office? Did he do that, or was he given direction by his boss, Michael Moore, county administrator, to do that? Is that how that happened? The paper reported that Alice Howard, chairwoman, and vice chairwoman Anna Tabernick are the ones who contacted the sheriff's department. Why is the ACA giving her, Chairwoman Howard, directions on what to do? This doesn't make sense. County council has been told for years and years and years the public trust is weaning. It's weaning. Just tell me that you didn't do this. If Robinson told Howard to contact the sheriff's department, which is what's being reported, I didn't say it. I'm just saying that's what's being reported. 2 papers have it out there. Why didn't Alice Howard say, no, that's not my job. That is your responsibility. The jail is under the responsibility of the assistant county administrator, John Robinson, in public safety, I guess they're calling it. Why didn't you contact the sheriff's department? You did tell Alice Howard and Anna Tabernick to do that, right? Or did the paper get that wrong, John? Was Michael Moore involved? Did he give you the direction? How long does it take to set this up? I'm curious. We want to know. Is Robinson, Moore, and Howard involved in this? You know, the reporter from the Island Packet, I believe her name was Chloe Appleby, I believe. If I'm wrong, I apologize. Made an absurd comment on her reporting. Got to tell you this. This is where you got to read between the lines. And actually, this is reading the lines and then understanding what's being told. In her reporting, she said, quote, Tom Reitz did not return our request for comment, end quote, paraphrase. Hey, Chloe, guess what? How the F could Tom Reitz call you back for a comment when the Beaufort County Sheriff's Department took both, personal and county, took both of his phones? They confiscated them and they turned his email off. How could he contact you? Yet there are some in the public that are saying, well, see, Tom's got to be doing something here because he didn't even answer the call of the press. How the hell would he answer the call of the press, ladies and gentlemen? The sheriff's department took his phones and shut down his email. So, you know, Tom goes back to wherever Skip was. He talked to him. Skip showed him the abhorrent conditions. I've been in there as a councilman. I can tell you the conditions, I don't know, was it 5, 6, 7 years ago were, it's got to be worse now. Showed him the deplorable conditions inside the jail and in his cell. And he showed Tom a list of medications he needed from his wife. Now, Tom Reitz took a photo of the medication. Took it on his phone, pulled out his phone, as he and many of us do. We pull it out and take a picture. Snap. That's right. The guards never asked for it, by the way. I'll give you that answer. You probably knew that. They never asked for it. Never warned him about it. And folks, if you don't know Tom Reitz, so those of you that are listening, there's a couple from Omaha, Nebraska right now, a couple from Gastonia, North Carolina, Richmond, Virginia. and then a bunch of you right here. If you don't know Tom Reitz, let me explain something to you. You know, in life, there are people you meet and you think to yourself, you know, this guy or this gal, she wouldn't or he wouldn't know what the inside of a jail looks like and probably have no idea how to even get inside of one. That's Tom. And I don't mean that negatively. I've told many people since this fiasco started that it wouldn't surprise me, honestly, if Tom has ever had a speeding ticket, maybe one. That's the kind of guy Tom is. Ever. I would bet money, hard money, that Tom had no idea how to maneuver around a jail or what the rules are, quote unquote. Yes, I'm sure he and other, like I did, we took tours of the jail. I'm sure he did that. That's one thing. But how to maneuver around the jail and what jail talk is like. Some people either get it or some people don't. I don't put Tom Reitz in that category of someone who understands jail lingo. And again, that is not a negative attack. That is actually quite the opposite. It isn't his responsibility, nor is it yours or mine to know going into it what the rules are. I mean, hey, if you're supposed to empty your pockets, tell me and I'll empty my pockets. If you're not supposed to bring a phone in, I'll go put it back in the car. Or, hey, is there like a locker or something that I'll leave it here? If you want to go visit an inmate, every one of us have the ability to go visit an inmate. The inmate has the ability to say, yes, I'll talk to him or her, or no, I won't. Actually, people in the media are the ones who don't have the right to go interview someone. By the way, see a couple of folks. Bonnie, good to see you. There's no way you just walked in. She says there's security doors that have to be open for you. To get into a cell, someone must have escorted him in. But what if they didn't, Bonnie? And that's why I want to ask this question. I mean, I want to get the answer. Did anybody give Tom keys? You didn't do that, did you? I mean, you know, if you walked up and they gave you a set of keys and said, you know, this is the key, open the door. And I mean, that's not what happened. Come on. Did it? Anyway, it's not his responsibility to know what the rules are if he's unescorted. That's why people aren't let into the jail unescorted. Unless you came with the help of the popo. And yes, Bonnie, too many checkpoints. But wait a minute, there's more. If they followed the rules, if they followed protocol, that's what we need to know. Was protocol followed, or was there a dereliction of the employees, a dereliction of the colonel who runs the place, and is there a dereliction of her supervisor, John Robinson? That's complete dereliction. And no, I've never heard of anyone being in a cell. You're right. There is a visiting center where you have a piece of glass or whatever it is in between you and the inmate. The general public doesn't go into the jail. So I don't want to digress. I think you see where I'm going there. It is the detention center's responsibility to advise people who come in there of rules and regulation. More questions come up with this. Did Tom get called by the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office and was he told up front, we need to talk to you about so-and-so? Or did he get the shuck and jive? In other words, hey man, how's it going? How's the wife? What's up? You know, how's this going? You got your grass cut? By the way, you need to remain silent. Everything you say and do can use be wills against you. The court of blah, 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 blah. Is that what happened? Did you get the shuck and jive? Or did they say, hey, look, man, we got a report. We got to talk to you. What happened? I want to know. Did Tom Reitz, a sitting county councilman, get called by the county administrator or the assistant county administrator, or even, lo and frickin' behold, the county council chairwoman for nothing less than professional courtesy about the supposed violation. Did anybody call him aside from an investigator? Yes, Bonnie, visitors do get searched. Or do they? 24 to 48 hours later, something along those lines, Tom gets served a warrant. Gets served a warrant to confiscate his county council phone and his personal phone, reportedly in the parking lot of Java Burrito on Hilton Head Island. Oh, man. That brings us up to this past Monday. Monday night, more than 20 people showed up at a county council meeting to support Tom, and about 10 of them spoke. Actually, had things to say during public comment. All very nice and quite eloquent and absolutely true about this fine man. And many of you have been commenting what a good man he is. And that is true. And thank you all for that. Tom did not get arrested, yet the cloud looms large over him, I am sure. I'm sure it does. How could it not? He and his wife are some of the finest people I've ever met. This has obviously got them. Matter of fact, and all you conspiracy theorists will love this, but think about this. Tom Reitz is the perfect one to plant this on because he's such a good person. He's the perfect one. Anyway, so what are my thoughts? My thoughts are this has the appearance of a major setup. Going on in the background is a threat of a former Hilton Head Island town councilman and the Greater Island Council. This is the buzz going on all around Beaufort County and the island of putting someone up to run against Tom. Now, Tom's got a huge backing. The people love Tom. He fixed stormwater problems on Hilton Head Island that his predecessor didn't even go look at because he could care less. Tom got them fixed. People like Tom. So there's this report of a former town councilman that's got deep pockets and big power of the Greater Island Council behind him that they're going to put someone up to run against Tom. That's someone who I'm not ready to name as they haven't come public yet, would be at the beck and the call of the Greater Island Council. And the political operatives that I mentioned at the start of this, yeah, they'll be maneuvering that puppet. Operatives who have been quite vocal, by the way, over the past couple of years of, quote, I'm going to make sure you are replaced, end quote, said one in the parking lot of the Hilton Head Library to Tom. Has the cabal, as many call them, in Beaufort County begun to the proverbial shit their pants because Tom isn't bought and paid for? Is Tom Reitz being used as a scapegoat for a much bigger and nefarious concern? These are questions we need answers to. We obviously don't know, but we are watching. We are watching very closely. And people, even more important, the people are watching. My comments to the Beaufort County Republican Party, why that? Because Tom is a Republican, and conservatives is usually what this show is all about. My comments to them is to be careful. Be careful. Be careful who you openly and privately support. They know what I'm talking about. This could blow back in your face faster than you could ever imagine. Speaking of blowback, not to change the subject, but I'm certain everyone remembers, or maybe you don't. Remember the real tough guy we mentioned a year ago or more, or maybe it's even been for the past couple of years. I don't know. Real tough guy who was videoed and taped telling people at a Beaufort County Republican Party meeting that I carry a gun, told a female attendee, I got brass knuckles. Yeah, big mouth, real big mouth. Well, I got to let you see this because this is why people who run their mouth need to be careful because let's put this up here. Let's go back here. I want you to see this entire screen. Let's go here. Here we go. Do you remember this guy? Oops, did it? There we go. What's his name? His name is Dan Hanlon. Dan Hanlon, there he is. Got him a pretty orange jumpsuit. Got arrested on the 8th, I believe it is. Yeah, for driving under suspension. License not suspended for DUI first offense. Oddly enough, there he is. Hey, Dan, how's it going? Oddly enough, that's the same offense that our next segment is all about. She got arrested for that. Driving under suspension, not DUI, except hers I don't think was first offense. Anyway, enough of that. Moral to this story is watch your mouth. Be careful. You never know when you'll have to eat crow someday. So anyway, the other big thing with this story and Tom Reitz is it's been over a week now. And this really is the most important thing for the public. It's been over a week now. And the citizens that he serves, I think it's like between 11 and 14,000 is each district. If there's 11, yeah, that's somewhere close. It's been over a week, and the citizens he serves have been unable to get in touch with their county council representatives. They've even shut his email down, as I mentioned. Now, I got word today, late today, that his email has now been turned on. That's nice. To Beaufort County, again, what in the hell is going on here? What in the hell is going on here? This man, hey, Nancy says, Dan, what an idiot. Kevin Henley, security guard, threatened my husband after he called me. Oh, yes, he did call you that. And, threatening, that was, I'm not even going to go in there because that was so embarrassing for the human race. Anyway, this man, Tom Reitz, was he wrong for taking a cell phone into a jail? Absolutely. I don't know if there's a sign. I'm sure there is. But did the guard ask him for a phone? Did Tom hide it in his person? Of course not. You see, in South Carolina, intent matters. When it comes to malice or something nefarious, I can tell you those two words and Tom Reitz, they don't go together. That's like water and vinegar, oil and vinegar. There was no malice. Unbelievable. Yet you treat him, Beaufort County, I'm talking to you, you treat him worse in many cases than a hardened criminal. And he cannot serve his constituents. Yeah, there are criminals that have been in there that are being charged for murder that have been there for years. They get 3 meals a day, groomed and medically taken care of, blah, blah, blah. But you do this? You're right, Bonnie. You're exactly right. Something is not right with this. Beaufort County, your county councilman, one of your 11 county councilmen can't do their job for the 14,000 or 11,000, citizens that he represents. You take both of his phones and lock his email down? Come on. Alice Howard, Anna Tabernick. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed for your roles in this, more so Alice than Anna Tabernick, but because Alice is named that she got the call. She's the one that called the sheriff's department. You should be ashamed for your roles in this. You are leadership. Another example of failed leadership in this county. I told everyone that Alice Howard would get my complete and unfettered grace as she stepped into her new role. Been a couple of hiccups, but she's actually done a better job than I would have thought. And then we have this. County Administrator Michael Moore and ACA John Robinson, what exactly are your roles in this? What are they exactly? You heard my questions. Go back and rewind it and rinse and repeat. What are your roles in this? Is this some kind of gotcha because you don't like the questions maybe that Tom has asked over the last couple years? Is that it? I don't know. I'm asking for the thousands of people that he represents that want to know. Sheriff Tanner, is keeping cell phones of a publicly elected official for more than a week usual and customary, or is it because it's Tom Reitz? Now, I know, we all know, Sheriff, you can download the entire phone. You can get anything you want off within 3 hours or less. It doesn't take any more than that. These phones weren't satellite phones. They weren't military encrypted. These belong to Tom Reitz. Tom reportedly gave your investigator the codes. You didn't have to break into the phone. Well, my PIN number is 1234, and that one is 4321, whatever. Tom has nothing to hide in his email. Are you serious? You have to shut down his email? Just watch his email. You've been doing it anyway, Beaufort County. We already know you've been doing that. You've been doing that to several county council members. Haven't you? Let the man do the job he was elected to do. Look into whatever you want to look into. But furthermore, remember those questions that I asked during the middle of this piece? About the jail, about the guards, the colonel. Well, my question to the county is, are they being investigated? If he was let in the jail without going through a scanner, metal detector, is that person being investigated? If he was let in the jail without asking to empty his pockets, is that person being investigated? If he was given a set of keys to get into the jail internally, is that person being investigated? If a citizen is in the jail and guards, COs walk back and forth, never said a word, if that happens, are they being investigated? Are the correctional are the correctional officers knowledgeable enough to carry out safety and security, the services necessary? Is the colonel being investigated if this all happened under her watch? Is John Robinson being investigated because he's in charge of public safety? This story is a long, long way from over, folks. A long way from over. And we're right here with you.
Your Rock Authority. Big Patriot Radio.
I wouldn't tell anybody about this.
All right, we're going to get into, excuse me, 7:45 here on BigPatriotRadio.com in Beaufort County's House of Cards. All right, so I hope you all do know and are aware that when you are a public political figure, you are held to higher standards. Right, wrong, or otherwise, it is what it is. That's part of the job. You're held to a higher standard. Well, that's not fair. I know it, but that's tough shit. I had to swallow that pill. A politician can't block people from their Facebook page. I remember when I was first elected, I didn't know you couldn't do that. I did that, and oh my God, you would have thought that I robbed a bank. You can't do that when you're a politician. Simple things like that cannot use, the political figure cannot use power to gain profit. That's a good way to put it. Political figures cannot use power to gain profit. Just think about that for a second. So we brought out a story, as we have others, about Bluffton Town Councilwoman Bridget Frazier, who, let me give you a story, on March 9th, 2024, was arrested by the Town of Bluffton Police Department for driving under suspension, not DUI. She was arrested for DUS, not DUI. I don't remember which degree, or if it was second or third offense or more. I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. It's important to note that this was not Mrs. Frazier's first time run-in with the law in several states, by the way, for this same offense. If anyone says, well, this is the first time, no, this has happened before. Don't go down that road. To make a long story short, and we'll look at it again here in a minute, Ms. Frazier claims her license was not under suspension and that the DMV had incorrect records. And that may be true. The information that the officer had at that time, which he is on a radio, Alpha 5, whatever. The information that he had, as I understand it, was that DMV records said her license was in fact under suspension. That is the information the officer was given. He didn't make it up. He called in to dispatch. They run the check. They get the information back from several places. One is DMV. And if it said you're driving under suspension, then that's all that the officer can go by. We have it under confirmation that when the officer called his superiors to ask what to do, and I'm only assuming that was because it is a town councilwoman, and I'm assuming that. I don't know that that's true or not. I don't know, but I'm just assuming that. He was told that the plaintiff doesn't get any special rights or privileges than any other citizen would. That's my understanding. So he arrested her and took her to jail. That's what they would do to me, or you, or you. We did talk about how quickly she got out of jail without the same process that I or you would go through. But that's another story. It's the lawsuit that we just got notice of, and we got proof of the suit. Now, I want to share the lawsuit with you. This is public knowledge. If you hear somebody say, they're sharing information, that's private and personal. No, it's not. This is public information. Anybody can get it, but I got it for you. So let's bring up the lawsuit. Survey says, here we go. So there you see page 1, State of South Carolina, County of Beaufort, Bridget Alicia Frazier and Warren Anthony Patterson, that's her husband, plaintiffs versus the Bluffton Police Department, Town of Bluffton. Richard Ramirez is the officer, Chief of Police Joe Babkowitz, South Carolina DMV. They're all the defendants. All right, let's roll down through here. She's submitted by Tiffany Span Wilder. She's a attorney out of North Charleston and a state house, a Democrat state house rep. And then Fred Woods, which from what my researchers are telling me, even though this is Greer, South Carolina, his local office is apparently with Clifford Bush here in the town of Bluffton. So anyway, I don't want to read through this whole thing because it's a lot of repetitive, and they're going to go through, every single count that she believes she was wronged. Talks about the defendants, who they are, all we already told you. So the factual allegations on March 9th, 2024, here you see she was stopped by Ramirez, who was employed as a, PD officer. Ramirez claimed that the plaintiff's actions were in violation of law, yada, yada, yada. Now, it says further in line 10 that despite the plaintiff providing proof that her driver's license was not suspended. Let's stop right there. When you're stopped, you provide proof of insurance. That doesn't mean it's valid. You provide proof of a license. That doesn't mean it's valid. So that line 10, I call bullshit on that. Whatever she provided, that's fine. But the officer is going through what the DMV tells him. That's the job. Anyway, further, they say that the arrest was made without a valid warrant. The plaintiff was deprived of her liberty for a period of time. She was subject to mistreatment and conditions of confinement. That's called jail. Anyway, in the plaintiff, Ms. Frazier, is swearing that The officer did not read her Miranda rights, which is, you have a right to remain silent, anything you say, and blah, 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 which is a violation of the Fifth Amendment. Now, I would be shocked. I would really be shocked. I haven't heard the tapes. I really don't care. But that's one of those things that's like elementary. If he didn't do that, then shame on him. I'll be the first one to say shame on him. When it comes to Miranda rights, usually officers get hemmed up if they don't read it off the card. If they just say it out of memory. I know some attorneys have really beat that like a bad rap because they don't. You have to read it off of a card anyway. In green, the plaintiff, Ms. Frazier, says that the defendant, Officer Ramirez, failed to protect the rights, health, safety, and well-being of her while she was unlawfully confined. I'd like for her to explain that. You don't, when you're arrested and in handcuffs, I'm sure you were put in the back of a car that had red and blue lights on it. How are you in danger? It also says that the plaintiff, Ramirez, compelled the plaintiff to be confined and detained in an unfit, unsafe, vile, and filthy cell with drunken, diseased, unclean, and mentally unstable people. Oh my God. Oh my God. Now, our last story does confirm that the jail is a pigsty, but I've never seen it in a lawsuit that it was the officer's fault she was detained in an unfit, safe, vile, filthy, with drunken, diseased, unclean, and mentally unstable people. Aghast. Anyway, let's keep going. Got to make a little fun of it here. First cause of action, and I think there are like 6 or 7 causes of action. She says, the plaintiff, that there was no probable cause or reasonable suspicion to justify the arrest. Well, I take exception with that, dear, because if the DMV comes back, you're DUS, then you're DUS. Now, from what I understand, she really had a valid license, and that I cannot swear to, but that's what I understand. And if that's true, then the DMV has made a very, very bad, what's the word I'm looking for? They are wrong. The DMV. The police are doing what they're hired to do. That's his job, plaintiff. Anyway, she complains that Ramirez, the officer, committed the above described acts and detained her wrongfully, illegally, and without reason or just cause. Well, go back to 17. Yes, he had cause because he was told she's not properly licensed. And it wasn't her first time. Plaintiff is informed and believes that her arrest and confinement were made on the request of the chief of police and that all defendants conspired together for the false and unlawful arrest and confinement in the county detention center as the plaintiff was unlawfully deprived of her liberty in an unlawful manner and on fictitious charges. This is one of the most egregious lines of bullshit I've ever seen, but it is lawyer-esque faux show. Now, I know the chief of police, and to sit there and say it was made on the request of him conspiring together, I seriously, seriously doubt that. I mean, come on. It's not like you don't know the chief town councilwoman. He does work for you and the other 4 council members. Fictitious charges. According to the DMV, your license was suspended. You were guilty of DUS, not DUI. The chief of police doesn't make those charges up. He was treating you like he would anyone else. Isn't that what you would want, town councilwoman, to be known that you are treated, or any of your fellow town council members would be treated the same as Tom or Joe or Jane or Mary citizen? You don't want any special privileges, do you, town councilwoman? I didn't think so. She goes on to say the defendant Ramirez failed to read the plaintiff her Miranda warnings. There you go. Once again, more damages, second cause of action. She says that without legal authority, Defendant Ramirez, without legal authority, arrested and forcibly handcuffed her, compelled her to enter the patrol wagon, and delivered her to the Beaufort County Detention Center over in Beaufort. Oh, word. The police officer did exactly, from what it looks like to me, what a police officer is supposed to do. If you break the law and it's an arrestable offense, you get a pair of handcuffs. You get placed in the back of a comfortable vehicle, and you're taken to the Sallyport door of the jail. You're let out, and you're given a new brand old but thoroughly washed orange jumpsuit, and you get to spend the night. Anyway, the actions of the defendant constituted a violation of Ms. Frazier's constitutional right and reflect a serious abuse of authority. So she's saying, if I understand this, that because he arrested her, she is above the law and has constitutional rights, and he abused his authority because she should not have been arrested. I understand. Goes on to say the incidents not only caused significant emotional and psychological trauma to the plaintiff, but also undermines public trust in the police force. Gee, that's funny, because I'm going to, again, of course you're going to have significant emotional and psychological trauma. Of course you will. This is about money. Isn't it? Is it? But it doesn't undermine public trust in the police force. It actually gave me a little bit more positive reinforcement that if I'm an elected official, I'm not going to be treated any different than Joe or Jane America, because that would not be right. There's the code that she was, said she was guilty of. Further down, line 32, the detainment was done without probable cause. Well, apparently, that's not what DMV told him. The arresting officer's action were based on incorrect information and did not meet the standards required for a lawful arrest. Well, actually, according to the chief and to other reports, if it is correct, and because of the action, and because of apparently this was done before, it is an arrestable offense. And I guess when you get the mustard and the mayonnaise off the sandwich, if you jaywalk, you could be arrested. Couldn't you? So there was cause. And if it was wrong, once again, let me say this perfectly clear. If the information from DMV was wrong, that is DMV's cross to bear, and they should be held accountable. I have no problem with that. If they were wrong, they were wrong. Let's continue. Down in the sixth cause, now the plaintiff, Ms. Frazier, is saying or indicating that the Bluffton Police Department knew or reasonably should have known that the officer did not have proper disposition or temperament based on his history prior. Are you serious? She also says that based upon Ramirez's history, the Bluffton Police Department should have known that hiring and keeping him presented a danger to the public at large, and it was foreseeable that he would harm or injure the plaintiff. I know him. I don't know him personally, but I've met him, and I didn't get any weird feelings, but she did, apparently. Officer Ramirez's history of misconduct and questionable behavior should have been thoroughly reviewed. Well, please tell us what you're talking about, because apparently nobody else seems to know. Down here in red, under the seventh cause of action, despite the extensive history involving the false arrest and brutality by officers, the data captured by the Bluffton Police Department related to Officer Ramirez, known by each and every officer, rather, that is known to exist, it's readily and easily accessible to same lawsuits involving this very issue with ongoing litigation over the last 2 years. Claiming, she says, that there's been a complete absence of the monitoring, supervision, discipline, and or investigation of officers and their behavior. What in God's name are you talking about? Let's keep going. Line 59. It's getting to the good stuff. Fill up a glass because it's getting to the good part here in a minute. The defendant, town of Bluffton, she says certainly knew that all the citizens here in Bluffton and others on the roads, we experienced repeated and recurring violations of our 14th Amendment right of bodily integrity by the Bluffton Police Department and their officers. Are you shitting me? The town of Bluffton obviously certainly knew or knows that the citizens and all of us on the roads, we experienced repeated and recurring violations of my 14th Amendment right of bodily integrity by the BPD and their officers. I'll be the first citizen to call that out as bullshit. I actually have only been pulled over by a BPD once, and it was actually a joke by one of my employees. Aside from that, I've never had the Bluffton Police Department violate my bodily integrity at all. Ninth cause of action, the Bluffton Police Department should have known, or they did know, that they don't train and provide adequate training and supervision of the employees. And they should have known or did know that that would and could result in serious injury. More legal baloney bullshit. Here we go. This is where it gets good. 803 here at Big Patriot Radio in Beaufort County's House of Cards. Line 70. As a direct and proximate result of the negligent conduct, plaintiff Frazier was internally injured. That's strange. Which has and will in the future cause plaintiff Frazier to undergo much emotional as well as mental pain and suffering. Have and will in the future cause the plaintiffs, Bridget Frazier, to spend large amounts of money for medical treatment and services. Have and will in the future cause plaintiffs to suffer trauma, anxiety, annoyance, whole body impairment, inconvenience, and travel, all to the plaintiff's general damage and detriment. Let's unpack that just once. She was internally injured. Explain that. How was this young lady internally injured by putting what I understand was two sets of handcuffs on her and sat in the back seat? Now, did she show, did she, what's the word when you don't abide by the rules of a cop? Did she resist arrest? I mean, I don't know. I'm asking. She says she was internally injured. Well, how are you internally injured? That's going to cause you all this. Well, let's just keep reading. Because on line 80, a direct and proximate result of the arrest, plaintiff Frazier was, internally injured, which has and will in the future cause plaintiff Frazier to undergo much mental pain and suffering. All right, now this is getting a little weird. She was internally injured. It's going to cause her mental and suffering. It's going to cause her and her husband, that's Anthony Patterson, to have to spend large amounts of money for medical treatment and services. Did they like break her arms or something? I mean, what on earth did they do internally? It have and will in the future cause her to suffer trauma, or them suffer trauma, anxiety, annoyance, whole bodily impairment, inconvenience, and travel, all to their damage and detriment. Oh, my word. 81. Before suffering the above described injuries, plaintiff Bridget Frazier was able to perform all the duties of a wife and did perform all these duties, okay, TMI, including assisting in maintaining the home and providing love, companionship, affection, sexual relations, way too much TMI, moral support, and solace to the other plaintiff, Anthony Patterson, her husband. As a result of, or as a direct and proximate result, plaintiff, Anthony's wife, Bridget, has not been able to perform her duties as a wife, which were referenced above, including love, companionship, affection, and sexual relations. Are you serious? You put this in a lawsuit? Oh my. What on earth did you all do to her? As a result of the injuries described above, and hey, if she is injured internally, as it says in several places, I mean, we should know. I mean, what are they doing at the Bluffton Police Department? If she was injured internally, that's not going to let her love her husband, provide companionship, affection, sexual relations. You brought it up, moral support and solace to him. Now, wait a minute. I guess, let's see if there's anything left. No, that's about it to the end of it. I guess that I missed your, let's see what kind of comments we have here. I'll go to my, we'll go to my thoughts here in just a second. Wasn't she pulled over for speeding? Then it came back her license. As a matter of fact, that's what I understand. 21 or 22 over the speed limit. Let me tell you, Janet, thanks for being on here. If Mike Covert was pulled over for speeding, much less 21 or 22, they would put my ass under the jail. Anyway, hey, Leon, how's it going? Leon Johnson. Bonnie, where did this attorney get his license? A Cracker Jack? I don't know. This one kills me too. But the thing, she's unable to perform her wifely duties. I'm not a lawyer. I don't pretend to be. Didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, but I know lawyers. I'm friends with lawyers. I used to employ several lawyers, and I understand the legal system better than most people think I do. I read the South Carolina Code of Laws. That's how strange I get with county council stuff and state politics. I don't believe I've ever seen in a driving under suspension, not for DUI lawsuit, that the plaintiff said they cannot perform their wifely duties. Because again, now, hey, don't get me wrong. If she was injured internally, we need to know about that. Let us know, because we need to know. You don't go around internally injuring people and then they can't perform their wifely duties. We got to know about that. But she wasn't injured enough. To cash some checks, public tax money from the town of Bluffton for whether it's the restaurant or the museum or her financier's partner, or that or the Blackwoody or the BEQ or whatever. She cashed a whole bunch of checks. That arm wasn't hurting. The pin, that hand, right or left, I don't know, but that one wasn't hurting. I can tell you that, because the checks was cashed. Anyway, I don't know what the amount is. We've been told $2 million at the end of the lawsuit. It says, she wants to get paid compensatory for this, and this. I don't know. Some people in South Carolina I've heard say, hey, you can't sue for $1. The court comes up with it. I don't know. I don't care. $2 million is absolutely insanity. $50 is going to piss me off through the DMV only. Absolutely. If the information was wrong and she paid her fines and she did all the things that you're supposed to do, then she's got a case against the DMV. I'm right there with you. I'll support you with that. The town of Bluffton that you sit on the council of, the chief, the officer, the town itself, which means the citizens, going after them is nothing more than raping and pillaging Tom, Jim, Jane, and Mary America. You know it. I know it. All of you know it. And we're tired of it.
Everything that rocks is right here. Right here.
Let's rock.
With Big Patriot Radio.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, let's see what we got here. We're going to turn around, turn 4, coming home. He cannot get his honey, so he is suing. I can't stop laughing. I know I don't know too much. Quick question about the restaurant. How did she get public funds for this? Well, interesting story. We have, you can go back in our voluminous library and look at those shows, but on her property, there are several, there's a museum, and it is beautiful. There is a restaurant. She applied for public monies She says as the museum, however, the application has Ma Daisy's on it, which is the restaurant. So, little things matter. Words matter. How you fill out an application matters. She got public monies for other entities that she is either in charge of, owns, the CEO, the whatever. She got public tax dollars for several places that she is in charge. Matter of fact, we just discovered this. One of her entities, Black Equity University, part of the Blackwoody endeavor, had its rent paid for by Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation. I wasn't going to bring that up tonight. I was going to wait. The BCEDC, its money, ladies and gentlemen, comes from you and from me and from them and them and them and them, and you get it. That's public tax dollars has paid the rent of Blackwoody to the tune of $14,000 for years. I think it's 2.5 years, something like that. $400 a month. Her rent, their rent, you've paid for it. Bonnie, that is so nice that you helped pay for her rent against the DMV, but not $2 million. I know. Again, I think that's crazy, but I've also said a lot of other things. Anyway, administrative mistake, I agree, but in the litigious world we're in, that is a capitalization point to someone to go hard. We all know it. It just is what it is. Don't agree with it, but it's interesting to say, hey, Janet, once again, to sue the town, if they don't give her $2 million, is that blackmail? I don't know. That's another good question. It's another damn good question that people have the right to know. Are you blackmailing the town? Hey, judge, before you, hear this, is that blackmail? I mean, all the citizens in the town of Bluffton, which, what is it, 35, 50,000? I don't know. Or Southern Beaufort County or whatever. I mean, are you being blackmailed? If you don't pay me, I'm going to do this. Now, I don't know, but correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that what happened before? That she threatened to sue if they didn't pay her. So is that not blackmail? I don't know. But now she's suing. She asked for it, and now she's suing. So I don't know how that works. Is that kind of like going in, letting somebody in the jail with a set of keys? I mean, that didn't happen, did it? I mean, you didn't blackmail the town, did you? How's that work with the town manager and the mayor? Mayor Toomer, how do you navigate those waters when one town council person is suing for, I don't know, 2 million, 1 million, 10 million, whatever? How is that? How do you navigate that? How do you explain that to the citizens who pay their taxes on land that they paid off, but they think they own, but they still got to pay you taxes for? They pay the taxes to the county on the car. They pay the sales taxes in the town for the food. But is she blackmailing? I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I want to know. I really want to know. Hey, Mr. Johnson, I agree, sir. I'm going to go sue DMV for my time. I think I should be able to sue them because I have said their name so many times. There should be some kind of NIL agreement that I should be able to get. Much like you, we have had to have some kind of internal damage from that horrific place. And hey, don't forget about the amount of time that we've spent in line at the damn place. I think I'm owed, my time is worth about $150 an hour. Why am I selling myself short? I don't know. But probably at, almost 60 years old, I'm sure that's like, 40 some years of driving. Let's just say, 20 hours a year, do the math, times that by pain and suffering. I think I'm owed at least, $1 million from the DMV. I agree. I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's questions that we have to have answered. And I'm sure we'll thank everybody for being here tonight. We love you. Tune in next week. Be sure to tell your friends and your neighbors. 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock on bigpatriotradio.com, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Don't forget, like the stream, like the page, check the box, ring the bell, whatever. Share them. We really need you to share these streams. If you want to help us out, we're getting close to 2,500 stars. I think that's about, $50, if that. So help us out there. Don't forget, we want to keep Charlie Kirk in our prayers. Also, before we go, I want to put up one other thing that I have. Tomorrow night, would love for folks to come out and let's see if I can find that again. Be a part of this. It's going to be a candlelight vigil tomorrow night, 7 o'clock at the Auto Pro. The Auto Pro at 299 William Hilton Parkway. 299 William Hilton Parkway. There you see it on the screen. Sad, very sad. But rest in peace, Charlie. You're going to be missed. To the victims of 9/11, we still have you in our hearts and our dreams, or our minds, rather. Prayers are going out for you. May that never, ever happen again. But I'm afraid, as we saw with what happened to Charlie Kirk, that it might. And it probably, unfortunately, will. The FBI has pictures out. They still haven't caught this person. I believe they will soon, and God help their soul. All right, again, from everybody here at the Big Patriot Radio Network and Beaufort County's House of Cards, we appreciate you coming on tonight. We'll see you next week, and as always, watch your six. Good night, everybody.